Welcome to Miracles, Morals, and Messages. In today's episode, we'll explore one of the most beloved stories from the Jataka tales, a collection of stories from Buddhism that illustrate the past lives of the Buddha. This is the story of the Monkey King, a tale of leadership, sacrifice, and compassion. It's a story that has traveled across Asia for centuries, retold in temples, villages, and royal courts. And although it may seem like a simple fable about monkeys and men, it carries a timeless message about what it truly means to be a leader. Long ago, in a lush forest by a flowing river, there lived a great troop of monkeys. At their head was the Monkey King, a wise and noble leader. He was larger than the others, but what truly set him apart was his kindness and his sense of responsibility for his people. These monkeys lived in peace, swinging from trees, eating ripe fruit, and drinking from the cool river. Among all the treasures of the forest, there was one tree that was especially sacred to them. It bore the sweetest mangoes they had ever tasted, golden, fragrant, and delicious. Now the Monkey King knew something very important. The tree stood near the river, and if any of its mangoes fell into the water, they might float downstream and be discovered by humans. And if humans learned of this treasure, danger could follow. So he warned his monkeys, "Eat all the fruit you wish, but never let one mango fall into the river." For a time all was well. The monkeys enjoyed the fruit, careful not to break their king's command. But one day a perfectly ripe mango fell into the river. It floated down, down, and down until it reached the palace of a powerful human king who was bathing in the water. The human king saw the golden mango and marveled. "What fruit is this? I must taste it," he declared. And when he did, its sweetness filled him with desire for more. The king ordered his soldiers, "Follow the river upstream, find where this fruit comes from. Bring me every mango from this tree." The soldiers marched through the forest until they found the sacred tree and the monkeys feasting upon its branches. Greedy and determined, they drew their bows. "We must destroy these monkeys," they said, "so that the fruit belongs only to the king." The Monkey King saw the danger. His people were terrified, scrambling from branch to branch, but instead of fleeing, their leader stood firm. He looked across the river and saw safety on the other side, but how could his people cross? Quickly, the Monkey King leapt into action. He grabbed hold of a long vine, tied it around his waist, and swung across the river. Reaching a tall tree on the opposite bank, he stretched himself out, forming a bridge with his own body. He clung to the vine with one hand and held onto the tree with the other, creating a living bridge across the water. One by one, the monkeys climbed across their king's body, using him as a bridge to reach safety. Though his body ached and his strength began to fade, the Monkey King endured it all, because his duty was to protect his people. At last, the troop was safe, but the Monkey King, exhausted and broken, collapsed from the strain. The human king had watched all of this unfold. He was deeply moved. "What greatness!" he exclaimed. "This Monkey King, though only an animal, has shown more nobility and sacrifice than most men." The human king ordered his soldiers to gently lift the Monkey King. He cared for him, honored him, and promised to never harm his people again. And as the Monkey King's life faded, he gave one final teaching. A true leader lives not for himself, but for the good of others. With that, he passed away, remembered forever as a symbol of compassion and selfless leadership. The story of the Monkey King comes from the Jataka tales, a collection of more than 500 stories that describe the many past lives of the Buddha in both human and animal form. Each Jataka tale highlights a different virtue, such as wisdom, patience, or generosity. In this story, the Monkey King represents one of the Buddha's earlier lives, where he learned the importance of sacrifice and selfless leadership. In ancient Buddhist societies, these tales weren't just entertainment. They were teaching tools, shared by monks, storytellers, and teachers, to help everyday people understand the core values of Buddhism. The Monkey King's tale has been depicted in temple carvings, paintings, and retold in many Asian cultures, from India and Sri Lanka to Thailand, Laos, and beyond. It's a story that transcends time and geography because its message is so universal. So what can we learn from the story of the Monkey King? At its heart, this tale is about leadership and sacrifice. A true leader doesn't seek power for themselves, but takes responsibility for the safety and well-being of their people, even at great personal cost. It's also about compassion and courage. The Monkey King didn't abandon his followers in their moment of fear. He found a way to save them, even when it meant giving his own life. In our world today, whether in families, communities, or nations, this message is as relevant as ever. True leadership isn't about control or greed, it's about service, empathy, and the willingness to put others before yourself. The story of the Monkey King reminds us that greatness doesn't come from strength or wealth, it comes from compassion, courage, and selfless love. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the wisdom of the Jataka tales. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to Miracles, Morals, and Messages for more inspiring stories from the world's spiritual traditions. Until next time, remember, the greatest leaders are those who serve. And as always, if you have a story you'd like to see us cover, use the link in the video description to submit your request, and we'll do our best to get it included in our library.